Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today is podcast number 1513. The topic is nutrition, and the title is, How Strict Do I Need to Be? So I had a new client. We were starting this week, and whenever we talked about nutrition and training and kind of doing all that odds and ends, that one of the things they mentioned was that they were feeling a little overwhelmed. They were excited, to make progress and finally, try to make a difference. But they were a little overwhelmed. They're feeling a little scared of what they believed they had to do. So they were thinking they had to be absolutely perfect. So they have new kind of calorie range targets, protein range targets, and distribution, kind of like when they should have their calories and protein throughout the day. And they were like, I don't know if I can do that every day. And I was like, well, you don't have to. I was like, I'm not, like, no way whatsoever would I expect you to be perfect and do that perfectly every single day. They also said, I don't know if I can, what do I have to eat? And I said, eat what you already eat. And they, what do you mean? And I said, well, what do you mean? And I knew what they meant, but they were saying, I don't know if I have enough money to buy organic everything. I don't know if I want to give up all my carbs. And I'm like, nowhere in the world did I ever tell you to do that. And you definitely don't have to do that. You can eat what you like. You don't have to give up carbs. You don't have to buy crazy expensive organic foods. So we can just take the foods you're eating now, maybe rearrange kind of the portions, rearrange some of the timing of some stuff, but you can just eat foods you like. And that also was a concern of theirs, is they wake up early morning and they're like, I don't know if I can get meal timing, to eat every 3 hours. And I said, you don't have to. And it was sad because they've been through a lot of dieting experiences where they were forced to make those types of huge lifestyle changes. And I told them, hey, we're doing it the right way this time. We're going to do it in a way that sticks for life. We're not going to try to rehaul your overall, like everything you're doing. We're just simply trying to say, okay, of what you're doing, what's one or two things that we could do a little bit better? And that's going to be the focus of our approach, is what are you doing now? And then what is like one step, maybe two steps you can take to get you a little bit better than that. And that's it. Like you do that, you get successful at that, and then you move on to doing that again. You find another one or two things and see if you can get those things right. And you just build and build and build. And that was our focus when I was talking to him about trying to kind of help him realize the way in which that we were going to diet, how that's different than the ways he's dieted in the past. And that really helped. He said he didn't feel as overwhelmed, so super awesome. And it was interesting because I had another brand new client this week who was saying the same thing, that they were feeling a little overwhelmed as well. So it was, sad to see that two brand new people this week had to feel that same kind of pressure. So I wanted to make today's podcast to kind of touch on that, in saying, okay, well, how strict do I need to be? When I start a diet, do I need to be perfect? Do I need to overhaul everything in my life? What happens if I mess up one day? Am I a loser? Am I going to be destined forever to never reach my goals? No. So we can take this step by step. We can do this in a way in which that it doesn't feel as overwhelming. There might be some challenges at first, but we want them to be minimal and stuff that you can easily obtain. Are there going to be some avoidable challenges? Yes, because you can't do what you've been doing because it got you where you are. If you want to go somewhere new, you have to do something new. So there's the challenge of adopting the newness, but that's something we want to make minimal and we want to make achievable. So that's what our goal is. Now, in podcast 1232, I talk about it all the time. That's a nutrition podcast titled Start Here. You can find all of our podcasts on our website, www.brutaliron.gym.com. But podcast 1232 takes you step by step on how to set up your own nutrition program. Pretty awesome. Now, we do have the $100 a month, and there's no contract to it. You can hire me for however long you want, 1 month, 2 months, whatever. For $100 a month, I'll take you through that, and I'll help answer all of your extra questions. And we communicate every single week. You can ask me anything you want, and for $100 a month, I answer it all. It's pretty badass service. So for $100 a month or for free, you can set up your own nutrition program. Pretty awesome. I think this is something I wish I had when I was younger, that's for sure. But those services, those options are out there. And what you'll see if you listen to podcast 1232 is the most impactful, the most important thing where you get your best bang for your buck for energy is to control calories. We want to first learn just how do we count calories. Some of my clients, I have nutrition tracking apps. Some of them I don't because they're just not going to do it for one reason or the other. So I'm like, well, you need to read some packages. We need to have an idea of how many calories we're getting to. So some of the clients who don't track, the number one reason that they are coming to me is because they undereat. So I'm actually trying to just get them to hit a calorie minimum. So I might be like, hey, I want you to can you please at least eat 1,200 calories today? And I said, let's look at what you're doing. Let's say, okay, you ate well here. Can you, do 1 1/4? Can you add 25% more to the volume of this food to get our calories up a little bit? Can we add drinking, a Gatorade later in the day? So we talk through how to get their calories up. And that is something that they don't need to track for. I just like them to have an idea that they're at least hitting the minimum. But that is the number one thing we want to look at is we want to account for calories first. Now, do you have to track every single day? No. I mean, if you're currently tracking 0 days, tracking 1 day is helpful. Is 1 day really going to make a super significant difference? Probably not. But you're going to learn the habit of it. You're going to learn how to do it. So that's significant. But then you start applying that to 2 or 3 days a week. So even if you can only do 3, maybe 4 days a week, that's better than the 0 you've been doing, and you will see progress. Most of my clients will track between 5 to 7 days a week. Now, protein, that's the second most important thing. We want to make sure we have a minimum of protein. And again, you'll get all your individual numbers if you listen to podcast 1232. But we just aim for a protein minimum. Some of my clients actually overeat protein, which causes too much of a restriction in carbs and fats. They feel like crap, they have poor training, and they feel water bloated because they have too much cortisol and stress. So actually, too much protein is an issue as well. So you want to make sure you're in the right protein range. And then we look at distribution and timing of our calories and protein. Am I spreading them out throughout the day? Is intermittent fasting, does it work for weight control? Yes. Does it work for maximizing body composition? No. Does it work for best management of mood and daily energy? No. So intermittent fasting can work to modify your body weight. And there will be people that argue with everything I just said. But the majority of people I see do intermittent fasting, they have to use a lot of caffeine to deal with the energy aspects. And they have a lot of kind of water retention. And they don't have as clean of a look as they could if they were to distribute that out a little bit. Now, it doesn't mean they have to do, 7 meals a day, but if they have one meal earlier in the day and then they have their big block of food a little bit earlier in the evening, so rather than 6 to 10, can you do it from 4 to 8 or 3 to 7, that kind of thing. Just bump it up a little bit more into the daytime, and they all of a sudden start looking leaner, they feel better workouts. I've done it hundreds and hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. I've worked with thousands of people. I've been doing this for over 20 years. So I can tell you the majority of people that this is exactly what happens because I've worked with a majority. Worked with a lot of people. But you just kind of grow from there. But that's the thing is we start with calories, protein, distribution. You can eat whenever you want to eat, except for you do have to, eat at least 2 meals a day. I try to push people to at least 3. We get the minimums of calories and protein, but that's it. So how strict do you have to be kind of depends on what do you want. If you want more results than the results you're getting now, then yes, you have to be more strict. But it only takes one step. So when you listen to podcast 1232, you might go through and say, okay, yes, I'm doing that right. Oh crap, I'm not doing that one well. Well, that's the one. Just do that one. Don't do anything else on the list yet. Don't go to the other steps until you fix the first step that you're not doing. Just take it step by step as explained in the podcast. If you're happy with what you're getting from what you're doing, then just maintain what you're doing. And that's how strict you need to be, whatever it is you're doing now. Now, if you pushed to get to a certain weight loss, or strength gain or muscle gain, and now you just want to maintain that, you might be able to back off a little bit here or there and maybe be able to maintain if you came from a strict, super strict push, you might be able to pull back a little bit, but you're not going to be able to turn it off. You have to maintain something. You have to maintain something of what you're doing to maintain some of what you got, right? So most of my clients who make progress and are happy, they account for their calories, protein, and distribution of calories and protein on about 5 out of 7 days a week. If they're only 4 out of 7, they tend to they're not seeing great progress. They tend not to be super happy about like what they're getting for it. So if we push to at least 5 out of 7 days, they tend to see better results and they're happier. Then if you look at high-level clients, so clients who are achieving kind of bigger goals, we're talking about competitive bodybuilders, competitive powerlifters, like I've worked with pro athletes, Olympic athletes, models, a whole bunch of people. They tend to have calories, protein distribution, and the timing of carbs and fats correct for 6 out of 7 days. Meaning that when they're more active, they eat more carbs. When they're less active, they eat more fats. And when we do that, it tends to work really well. They can achieve high levels. Now, my pro level people, the people who are just like, this is their life, they're doing everything because this is their number one focus, they might mess up 1 or 2 days a month. So they track calories, protein, distribution, carb and fat timing, and they might mess that up once or twice a month. That's it. But that tells you kind of like how disciplined different levels of people are. So pros, they might mess up 1 or 2 days a month. High level clients, they're going to mess up maybe 1 day a week. For most general people, they're going to do their calories, protein, and distribution, not even really maximize carbs and fat timing. They might not have that at all, but they're at least getting calories, protein, and distribution 5 out of 7 days. So that will tell you on how strict you need to be. But the main thing that I would tell you, the answer I really would encourage you to do, is to listen to podcast 1232 and listen to the steps that you're supposed to take. If you're doing a step right, awesome, keep doing that. As soon as you hear a step that you're not doing as it is explained, work on that step. That will help you push to the next level of results. Once you have that achieved, if you still want more results, go to the next step. It's that easy. So listen to podcast 1232, follow it step by step, or hire me for $100 a month, and I'll do it for you, okay? Now, also, we have training templates on our website. We have training templates and Try Me programs. A Try Me program is 3 months worth of programming. It has nutrition programming included, like nutrition education programming included, has a lot of good information, and it's $50 for 3 months of programming, and you get an idea to see what my programming looks like. It has, every exercise has tutorial videos. There's a whole bunch of good stuff in there. Then our training templates are $100 a month, and they are more extensive, like they're 30 to 50 pages of tons of information that is super helpful. So I would encourage you guys to check that out. We have podcasts linked to all those so you can learn more about them. Just go to our website at www.brutalirongym.com. Well, thank you for listening. If you like our podcast, please share it. The more people we share the podcast with, the more people we can help. Also, thank you to those who financially support the podcast with donations. The podcast is well over $1,000 a year for hosting costs. I give an hour to it every day, and we're going to keep it for free. So thank you to those who donate, which you can do on our website. There's options for a one-time donation, monthly donation, yearly donation, anything you can give, even just $5 a month. It does help maintain this and keep it up and running for me. So thank you. If you like the information we share in our podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels. I post on Instagram every day, and I'm posting a lot more on YouTube. So go check us out and follow us on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, anything you want to know, let us know at our email, brutalirongym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.